A record 120,000 people left Canada last year. So where are they all going? Well, here at Blueprint Financial, I've helped a lot of Canadians make that move, and I hear the same destinations come up again and again. In this video, I'll go over the top countries grouped into these three categories, which are low cost and adventure, cultural fit, and business and taxes. Let's start with lower cost and adventure, because when I talk to Canadians, the number one frustration that I hear is everything is just too expensive. Groceries, housing, grabbing dinner out, it feels like you're paying more but getting less out of life. And honestly, some people admit Canada is just starting to feel a little bit boring. That's where these countries really change the game because they're full of culture and excitement, but they are not for the faint of heart. And you'll likely experience a lot of culture shock in them. But for the cost of renting a tiny apartment in Toronto or Vancouver, you can live comfortably for a month in each of these countries. You can eat out every day, enjoy better weather, and actually feel like you're living large again. But it's not just for people on a budget. I know plenty of wealthy Canadians who choose these countries as well because their money just goes way further and life simply feels better and they just don't have to worry about money at all. So first up is Thailand. Because Thailand is one of the easiest countries to fall in love with. It's warm, affordable, and full of life, from beaches in the south to the mountains in the north. The food is incredible, and it's no wonder why Bangkok is the most visited city in the world. Your money goes far here, you'll be spending way less than you will in Canada. It's safe, the healthcare is really good, and there's a large expat community, and the new 5-year Destination Thailand visa and various other retirement visas make it really easy to stay here long term. The downsides, though, is that visa rules can change, taxes can get tricky if you want to stay here full time, and the smoky season in the north will run from February to April, maybe even January to April. Plus, the traffic is quite dangerous in Thailand. Before going to the next country, let's go through Numbeo, which is a free tool that I use that lets you compare the cost of living between these cities. Since prices can vary a lot within a country, it's great to give you a rough estimate of what to expect. For example, living in Chiang Mai in Thailand costs about 60% less than in Toronto, while Bangkok is around 46% cheaper. In other words, you could enjoy the same lifestyle while spending a fraction of what you would back home. All right, our next country is Colombia. Colombia is beautiful, lively, and full of adventure. You've got perfect spring-like weather year-round in Medellin, beaches in Cartagena, and stunning mountain scenery all around. The people are friendly, the food's amazing, and everyday life feels spontaneous and full of energy. The big draw is the value, culture, and the beauty. You can rent a great apartment, eat out daily, and live comfortably for a fraction of what it costs in Canada. Things like internet and healthcare are pretty solid, and major cities will have growing expat communities. The downsides, though, is that safety is a huge concern here, and traffic, pollution, and bureaucracy can get pretty frustrating. For example, if you stay more than 183 days, you'll likely be taxed on your worldwide income. And according to Numbeo, living in Medellin is about 57% cheaper than Toronto. Next, I grouped these Eastern European countries together like Serbia, Georgia, Albania, Montenegro. It's actually becoming a pretty popular choice for some Canadians because it has freedom, affordability, and somewhat low taxes without giving up too much lifestyle. Cities like Belgrade and Tbilisi are safe, lively, and filled with entrepreneurs, digital nomads, and creatives from around the world. Again, you can live comfortably for a fraction of Canadian costs, and many countries make it easy to stay long term. Georgia stands out with its 1% small business tax rate, which might as well be zero, and also a territorial system, while Serbia offers great value and a strong cultural scene. The trade-offs, though, is that the winters can get cold, there is a lot of bureaucracy, and there's a huge language barrier outside of major cities. It's also not the most vibrant or playful region, but if you value independence and keeping more of what you earn, Eastern Europe could deliver some good flexibility and value. All right, next is Vietnam, which is one of the fastest growing countries economically in the world. And it's often compared to China back maybe a generation ago for its mix of energy, manufacturing power, and rapid growth. But it also has a very fresh and youthful vibe. The people are ambitious, creative, and incredibly hardworking. And the country is incredibly diverse, from the beaches of Da Nang and Nha Trang to the mountains of Sapa and the chaos of the cities of Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. Vietnam is just bursting with culture, flavor, and energy. To me, Da Nang is perhaps the best value city in the world because it's a clean, modern beach city with tons of cafes, amazing food, and surfing just steps away. And it's about 67% cheaper than Toronto. Next, we have Indonesia, specifically Bali and Lombok. So Bali is the obvious and popular choice with its beautiful rice fields and beaches and cafes filled with remote workers and creatives. You can surf in the morning, grab a smoothie bowl for lunch, and end the day watching a sunset over the ocean. But I'd like for you to consider Lombok, which is Bali's much quieter and lesser known neighbor, which can give you all the beauty of Bali without the crowds. It's way more affordable, feels more local and authentic, and still offers incredible beaches and growing expat-friendly areas like Kuta, Lombok. And Numbeo shows Bali's cost of living to be around 55 to 60% cheaper than Toronto, depending on the area. The trade-offs, though, is that tourist areas are getting very busy in Bali. Infrastructures outside main towns is still developing, and long-term visa rules can change. All right, before heading into the next section of cultural fit, if you're serious about moving abroad, the financial side is where most Canadians get tripped up on. Things like your taxes, pensions, and investments. And here at Blueprint Financial, our cross-border planners specialize in helping Canadians plan their exit the right way. So book your discovery call with us today and build the life you want with the right blueprint. All right, next section is cultural fit and lifestyle. Not everyone wants to move somewhere completely different and shocking, and that's totally understandable. Some Canadians still want that sense of familiarity, places that feel comfortable, easy to adapt to, and share similar values. These countries offer a smoother transition, great quality of life, and a lifestyle that feels closer to home, oftentimes with better weather, of course. So the next country on our list is Costa Rica, and it's, to me, one of the easier countries in Latin America for Canadians to settle into because it's peaceful, green, and very safe with a big community of retirees and expats who love its relaxed pace and natural beauty. The local motto is Pura Vida, which means pure life, and that truly sums up how people view living there. It's a stable, democratic nation with excellent healthcare, solid infrastructure, and English spoken widely in these expat areas. Canadians can stay 90 days visa-free with simple residency pass for retirees and people who want to stay longer term. The territorial tax system is great and it means foreign income isn't taxed, making it very attractive for remote workers. The downside though is that costs are rising in tourist areas like Tamarindo and San Jose, and there's also steep import taxes on things like cars and electronics. There's also a rising concern within the local population of Costa Rica being over-gentrified. Next up is the United States, and I know I'm gonna get some hate in the comments on this one, but Canadians are culturally closer to Americans than pretty much any other country. We watch the same shows, follow the same news, and share similar lifestyles. So it's no surprise that thousands of Canadians still move south to America every year. There are a lot of perks, which is potentially better weather, lower taxes in many states, higher salaries, and a lower cost of living if you choose wisely. Places like Florida, Texas, and Arizona are especially popular for their sunshine and lack of state income tax. But the downsides are real, and you're probably aware of a lot of them. Healthcare is expensive, gun violence, and the crazy political division can be very unsettling, and the immigration rules are getting much tougher. But still, a lot of our clients are moving here, and that probably won't stop anytime soon. All right, next up is Malaysia and Philippines, which you might not think of as a good cultural fit, but let me explain. In both countries, they speak English very, very well. And not having that language barrier is very great to adapting to a new place. Malaysia is much more developed, I would say, than the Philippines. There's quite modern cities with efficient transport and incredible food. Kuala Lumpur is clean, affordable, and full of expats. The Malaysia My Second Home Visa, or the MM2H, and newer long-term stay options make it quite easy to live there for many years. Meanwhile, the Philippines offers a much more laid-back lifestyle. The people are extremely friendly, and there's a very strong sense of community. To me, I think it's one of the few places where foreigners can truly integrate without feeling out of place right from the jump, without having to learn any new language. The downsides, though, is that it's humid all year. The infrastructures can be quite terrible, and there's a lot of bureaucratic hurdles for long-term visas. There is a new investment program in the Philippines which offers up easy residency program, which a lot of Canadians have decided to explore for some tax planning purposes. So that's something you might want to look into as well. All right, then we got Southern Europe. So countries like Portugal, Spain, and Greece. These European countries can offer a lifestyle that feels a little familiar, yet maybe even elevated a bit. It can be relaxed, very social and family oriented, much like the Canadian way, but with better weather. And Portugal is especially popular thanks to some of its digital nomad and D7 visas, which allows Canadians to stay long term without much hassle. Spain offers pretty great lifestyle value in smaller cities like Valencia, while Greece's Golden Visa program makes it easy to gain residency through property investment. All right, next up is Mexico, which also probably could have fit into the first category of low cost and adventure, but it's also one of the most popular choices for Canadians because it's close to home, warm, and bursting with life. The food, beaches, and the culture are world class, and the cost of living is far lower than in Canada. You can live comfortably, eat well, and still save a lot of money. It's also a great cultural fit because the people are warm, social, and family oriented, which can feel familiar but more vibrant and expressive. Many speak English in expat areas, and Spanish is a lot easier to learn than other languages. And yes, you could even get Amazon delivered to your place in Mexico. You have a lot of options of where to live, so cities like Mexico City, which is a great city, Playa del Carmen, Puerto Vallarta, they offer a lot of diversity and relatively good infrastructure. Residency visas are very straightforward if you have a steady income or savings. Of course, you probably heard that some regions have safety concerns, but overall, if you stay in the right areas within each city, it's generally feels very safe. And I've stayed there myself in the past. There was a surf town called Puerto Escondido that I really enjoyed, and I also stayed in Playa del Carmen in Mexico City for a little while as well. So all those places I would recommend. Now, the next category is for those concerned about business and taxes. So if you're a business owner or a high income earner, your priorities might be less about beaches and more about tax efficiency, stability, and global wealth opportunity. Because these countries can make it easy to protect your wealth, set up companies, and live well without the crushing tax burden you might face in Canada. First in this list is the UAE, specifically Dubai, which has become the global playground for many entrepreneurs and investors because it offers zero personal income tax, a world-class business environment, and an unmatched infrastructure. It's clean, safe, and very cosmopolitan, with people from nearly every country on earth in this giant melting pot. And Canadians can qualify for residency through investment, freelancing, or employment, and it's one of the most straightforward systems for building a tax-free base while staying globally connected. English is widely spoken, and the city runs efficiently. Everything from setting up a company to opening a bank account is streamlined. The downsides, though, is that there's high rent prices, there's extreme summer heat, and strict cultural laws that require awareness and respect. Still, for those focused on business growth and opportunity, Dubai could perhaps be one of the best places to build wealth and expand globally. Before we move to the next country, if you're thinking about leaving Canada, make sure you're not missing any key steps, and I put together a free guide on the 7 biggest CRA tax traps Canadians face when moving abroad. You can grab it in the link below. All right, next up is Panama. So Panama is one of the most business-friendly and strategically located countries in the Americas. It's politically stable, uses the US dollar, and runs on the territorial tax system, so income earned abroad isn't taxed, which is key. Now, residency is straightforward through the Friendly Nations Visa or Pensionado program, and its strong banking sector and global connections make it a smart base for entrepreneurs and remote workers. You could live in modern Panama City with its skyline and international vibe, or escape to cooler, relaxed mountain towns like Boquete. The downsides, well, I've heard some mixed reviews from clients about Panama. There's hot, humid weather year-round, there's quite high costs in the capital, and a much smaller expat scene than Mexico or Portugal. Some people I've talked to have found it hard to integrate into Panama. Still, though, for financial freedom, safety, and stability, it could be one of your best choices. Next is a sleeper pick of Paraguay. So Paraguay flies under the radar, but it's becoming one of Latin America's growing low tax, low cost options. It's politically stable, very affordable, and offers one of the easiest permanent residency programs in the world, often approved within months, with citizenship possible after just 3 years. It seems like the government really wants to entice wealthier foreigners to come and move here because it's very rare to offer citizenship after just 3 years in any country. And since it has a territorial tax system, foreign income isn't taxed, making it ideal for entrepreneurs, investors, remote workers, and maybe even retirees. Of course, there are downsides, which is English isn't widely spoken, infrastructure can be pretty basic, and public services might be limited outside the main cities. There also might not be too much going on for you here, so make sure you properly scope out the country before deciding to move there. I should probably say that for any of these countries on the list is a great way to do research actually for any country or whatever city you're going to is you'll find some type of expat YouTuber in every one of these countries that you could follow and watch some of their videos about what day-to-day life is. That's kind of what I like to do sometimes as well, to research a new country that I'm considering going to. Okay, then you got your Caribbean islands. So places like Cayman Islands, Bahamas, St. Kitts, and more. So for Canadians with bigger budgets, the Caribbean offers tropical weather, safety, and total tax freedom in a lot of cases. A lot of these countries will have no personal income tax, making them pretty popular with a lot of entrepreneurs, investors, and retirees who want to protect their wealth while living in paradise. Many of these islands also offer residency or citizenship by investment programs, where investing in property or government funds can grant you residency or even a second passport. Life here is peaceful, English is generally widely spoken, and the infrastructure is mostly excellent for such small countries. Of course, paradise does come at a price. Living costs can be high, imports can be expensive, and the social scene might be small compared to larger expat hubs. To me, the key thing about living abroad isn't about escaping Canada, it's about designing a life that you feel gives you more value, freedom, and joy. And the key is to do it strategically. And here at Blueprint Financial, we help Canadians make that transition smoothly, both financially and emotionally. So visit our website to check out our services and book a discovery call. Like and subscribe for more insights, and check out this other video I think you'll like on the screen